Oh, since I don't whatchamacallit right now. Not whatchamacallit, but since I don't have the speaker running or my headphones, I could do this. You may have seemed so light. Right, look, 2 years ago. Beautiful squad. Gets to it, gas. Let's drink all that time. You should take your own advice. I want to know what the fuck we should do.
Year after year, this early portion of the season is characterized by a great deal of overreaction, Grant.
The media and fans build up a lot of expectations in the offseason.
You should be waking up at 5 to the border.
Expectations aren't met. Watch out. Listen, we all just need to settle down and see how things play out. The season is still very young.
And the starting lineup for Miami. Bam Adebayo is out there with Andrew Wiggins. Then there's Tyler Hero, and it's Ware in at center, filling out the middle. Here's Adebayo. And counts
What is you talking about?
He was fouled, and he's going to the line.
I'm all the way up.
And Grant, the success of teams like the Timberwolves showing that size still matters.
Yeah, in this pace and space era, that may have come into question just a bit, but size and skill combined has always been your best bet at winning.
Never sleep. He got V12, I got 12 Vs. Got Bottom, got Molly. I'm all the way up.
Now here's Randall. Outside, DiVincenzo. Randall deciding where to go with it. DiVincenzo can't hit. And Wiggins has got the ball here for the Heat. It's a three-point game. It's Adebayo, high post. Here's the kid. Sure, from three-point range.
For a center, Adebayo is an excellent passer. He's always so aware of his surroundings.
Gobert with it. McDaniels from long range. Nice start for him. Sinking his first shot.
Ain't even out with the gold chains, Himalayan broken cocaine, lit it up.
This is just fun. These teams are trading threes back and forth.
Well, that three-point shot just gives you so much room to operate on the offensive end.
Now here's Adebayo. Adebayo sets a screen. Hero, the pass to the kid. Just 5 on the clock. The Heat need to get one up in a hurry. And Adebayo slams it in.
The aggressiveness of Adebayo. He plays with so much energy and force close to the bucket.
Now here's DiVincenzo. He's guarded closely.
Got B12, got 12 B's. Got
Outside, DiVincenzo. And the 3 off target.
Ooh, that's a tough break. After poor communication defensively, it leaves him all by himself.
Here's the kid. DiVincenzo covering. Adebayo passes to the kid. And he was camped in the lane there. He gets a 3-second call. All right, a moment to check out some numbers for Anthony Edwards. Clark is checked in for McDaniels. The Timberwolves have gone 1 of 4 to begin this one. Here's DiVincenzo. Oh, a great 1-2 punch. Beautiful pass and a nasty jam.
You see the work Anthony Edwards has put in on his decision-making. That's a pretty setup.
Here's Adebayo. Misses off the left iron. Timberwolves trail by 3. And Doris, you watch Anthony Edwards year to year. He just keeps reaching a new level.
He wants greatness badly, and he's putting in the time, BA, to get there. Anthony Edwards, the shooting, the confidence, the leadership, everything's growing. He's now producing like an MVP. Look out, everybody. Here he comes.
Here's the kid. DiVincenzo covering from downtown. Miami, no good that time either.
I know he wants to answer the 3 that was just made on the other end, but he can't let that affect his judgment. He's got to find the best shot possible.
And from the sideline, let's catch up with Allie.
Brian, Anthony Edwards, his disposition just brightens a locker room. Coach Chris Finch said he's an absolute joy to coach. Always in a great mood with a great smile. It doesn't matter if he plays well or he doesn't. Every day he has the same approach and the same attitude.
And he wants to be great, Allie. There's no doubt about that.
That was a. I set that pick.
Mid-range shooter, but he can't get that one to go.
Clark in the post. Wiggins on him. Clark outside. Pass to Randall. And he drops it in from the low.
You're supposed to lock that down.
Plenty of contact down low, but Randall assertive and able to find the finish.
Shot to stop the run.
What?
And it's Edwards with the ball for Minnesota. Coming off the win against the Blazers.
Hey, their activity on defense was terrific. It was just full effort at that end of the floor and a bunch of blocks to show for it.
The best defenses do a great job of protecting the rim. That team did not give an inch. They defended and contested every shot.
7-second difference between the shot clock and the game clock. Pass to Randall.
That's bad.
And can't get it. He's now 1 of 3. Here's the kid. In the game against Denver. Very impressive. From outside the arc.
Oh,
Sends it
oh my
home for
gosh.
three-point land. The
I didn't
kid's
think
got
I was
his
going
second
in.
bucket on the night.
Gotta fight harder to get over those screens.
You know, we see this all the time. You're basically, as a defender, hoping the man misses rather than putting in the work to get over screens.
1 quarter in the books, and it's been a close one. Heat out in front, leading by 1. And the second quarter about to get started. We'll be back in a moment.
But if it was all I had, be the heroes though, you know, protect and serve. Y'all taking us off the earth. Poking my nerves.
And getting it going again here in the second quarter. Fairly close game so far. Let's quickly break down what we've seen from the Heat.
It's simple. The main takeaway from the first quarter is they're winning this game with defense.
I think
And
across
welcome
the
back.
board, a number of guys have done a great job guarding multiple positions.
We've got Mike Conley, Nas Reed out there with McDaniels. And it's Shannon in at the shooting guard position. So that's the Timberwolves.
He got me back. He got my ass. That good.
Mr. McDaniels sent it in.
Here's the kid. He has 6. Launches a 3. Counted from distance. The kid's got 9 points.
He nailed 2 from distance in the opening period. Now gets this one.
It's like how they do. Let me do what they do.
To Shannon. And we played through the first minute here in the second. Outside Reed. 3-pointer. And it's Miami with a rebound. This game against Minnesota is the first time they've met this year. They set the screen. Works for 3. Reed with the rebound. Timberwolves trail. And Nas Reed has proven to be a matchup nightmare for opposing big men doors.
He has, BA, and the reason is he's bigger and stronger than most 4 men. Traditional 5s are too slow to stay with him. He can
Hey, stop Mike Conley.
or he can punish you on the inside. Nas has got a big-time game.
Here's the kid. 9 points in the game. The 3. Can't get it to go. 3 for 7 shooting now. Minnesota has gone 1 of 2 from deep in the second quarter. Pass to Conley. Clark outside. Jacks up a 3. Shannon's shot is off. The Heat have gotten only 1 of 4 shots to go in. Outside Burks.
Bro,
To go from the wing.
stop trying to take my screen.
All over the rim and in. Burks has got his first 2 points.
Another lead change. Give these teams credit. They're really fighting it out.
Neither team willing to give it in.
Why didn't you adjust?
The momentum. This has been a fascinating one to watch.
And the chess match continues.
7 lead changes already, and we're still in the first half.
The 3 is up. A nice shot by the kid. The kid's got 12 points.
And now he's dropped 2 3-pointers in each quarter.
For Minnesota, they've gone 3 of 5 since the beginning of the second. And Chris Finch has...
Y'all asking me to do too much. Like, pick
Ball
one.
timeout. He's going to gather the troops and talk it over. A different look for Miami. Love is checked in for Jovic, and Jaime Jaquez is subbed in for Burks. Here's Randall. 17 points for him last game against Portland. Outside, DiVincenzo gets the 3 to fall. DiVincenzo's got his second basket of the night.
Julius Randle can do a little bit of everything. That's a great find to get his teammate an open look.
With Grant, with players getting bigger and more athletic, do you support moving the restricted area out?
Yeah, BA, I would. We've seen a lot of injuries when defenders slide underneath elevated players on the drive. So cutting down that risk makes a lot of sense.
Now here's Conley. And the
Why is nobody adjusting to that?
I like that he shakes off that rocky first period and knocks down a shot. Nice.
Here's the kid. Anderson with a screen on Edwards. Robinson for 3. It's rebounded by Minnesota. They're off to battle the Trailblazers after this one, as they'll be playing at Lotus Center. That's the first of a 3-game trip out on the road for them. Pass to Gobert. Randall outside. Outside. DiVincenzo.
Oh my.
Again from deep.
That's his second bucket from range this quarter after hitting none in the first.
There's 49 seconds left to play in the second quarter. Here's the kid. Gets a very good look and converts. The kid's got 17.
I'll tell you, the consistency of a good first quarter leads.
I'm honestly surprised how in the positive we are.
To an excellent second quarter, riding the wave here.
DiVincenzo, pass to Randall. That 3's off the mark. Miami has gotten 5 of 11 threes to drop so far in this game. Sinks it from distance. The kid's got 20.
Yeah, he's in his bag from beyond the arc right now. You see his confidence.
And I think the defender knows once he gets cooking, look out. The bucket will
Craftsman days are here at Lowe's with big savings on the tools you need. Save $100 on the Craftsman V20.
Picked by Gobert. The baseline J. Randall, good.
This guy a tough cover for any defender. Creative and assertive scoring the ball.
Here's the kid. All targets
That
on
was
time.
in there.
Tie game in Minnesota. And we'll be back for the second half following the break. Keep it right here on 2K Sports.
Thanks for tuning in. The story tonight with the Minnesota Timberwolves, they're in a close game.
They found an advantage in the painted area, and they're exploiting it. I just say keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, if it ain't broke, please don't fix it.
And now let's take a moment to see how the West stacks up here in this early part of the season.
I think for the Timberwolves, this team wants to do big things, Shaq-sized things. And I got to say, they're looking almost as dominant as Kenny.
Easy, big fella, but I got to say, they are making it look easy, here in this early part of the season at least. That does it for halftime.
We've got second half action for you, and if the next couple of quarters are similar to the first, this one could go down to the last possession.
Cause you was always in the front row. Love online. Real good guy. You set the bar better. So I don't wanna be 20 something. And still in my head about 17 in my bedroom talking. He said if I now we paint the walls of our shared apartment. DJ Frisco 954. You think they work it out. So what are you doing now? And that you finally got the job you like. You making money off the songs I write. You can call if you wanna call too. If it feels so far. I wanna put it in the past tense, cause I don't wanna be 20 something. It's still in my about 17 in my bedroom talking.
Miami has gotten 6 of 13 shots to go from outside the arc. And let's take a look at Miami. They've got Bam Adebayo. He's out there with Andrew Wiggins. And it's Hero in at the point guard position. There aren't many more dominant defenders in the NBA than Gobert.
Well, that's definitely fair to say, because his defense has outsized influence on a game. The inside presence changes an opponent's game.
The kid shot is off. Here's Randall. We'll bring it up for Minnesota. Going inside. Laid it in with a nice touch off the window. Randall's got 6.
Okay, Julius Randle, he excels using his athleticism to get to the rim off the drive.
Here's Hero, the shake. And it's good on the lay-in.
Probably a play they drew up in the locker room at half.
Well, there is nothing better than catching a rhythm as early as possible. And boy, that's a terrific start right there.
Back to DiVincenzo. Outside Edwards. Takes the 3. Rebound by the Heat. Adebayo's got his 4th rebound in this one. Pass to the kid. Let's go with a 3. Yes, and it's Adebayo picking up the assist.
How many assists is he at? 27. Okay. So we're at more than a third of the way. How many points does the nigga have? 5.
Kid's got 23 points.
All game long, he's been getting to his spots, and the defense has yet to adjust.
I get up, I get down, I get twisted around. Oh my God, my spine.
Oh, yeah, I like that.
AJ.
No, I like that a lot, though. Oh my God, my spine.
Please stop twisting me.
I'm in the ER now. And I can't feel my legs. Been a hell of a ride, but I'm thinking it's time to break. Ah.
You're right. Look at the F1 driver just got.
Here's Edwards. There's the AT&T 5G Slam Cam capturing the moment. Now here's Hero. The three is up. Buries it from three. Hero's got 5 points now in the quarter.
Defensive mix-up there. He's the last guy you want to leave open.
Time now to hear from our reporter, Allie LaForce.
Here's a great quote from Coach Eric Spoelstra, who said, "The Miami Heat culture is a system based on discipline and hard work. We stand for something. That's competition. That's winning. We feel that there's a championship DNA that you can't develop." And Brian, they walk the walk.
One of the great organizations in the league, Allie.
Jaden McDaniels is a guy who will embrace physicality, does a nice job drawing contact.
Take a break. Take a break.
First one falls for him. Doris, you look at the tools.
I never would have come back through it for my short film.
You know how hard boxing was. I don't think you would have recommended a simple boxing match at equal weight.
Listen, I
was
always going to box. I was always going to end up here. There's no way you were going to do it.
1 minute in now in the fourth quarter. They've got Dillingham. Miller is out there with Nas Reed. Then there's Mike Conley, and it's Shannon in at the three. So that's the Timberwolves 5. Now here's Miller.
Hey, if you can't block it, sending him to the line could be the next best thing.
All right, a moment to look at the scoring approach in terms of where the points are coming from here for the Heat.
What a performance from beyond the arc in this game. They stuck to their guns, and it's paid off all.
Yeah, my finger like almost just now.
Okay.
I think it's also important we mention the number of assists this group has tallied. Their offense continues to just hum along right now.
The Timberwolves making a switch here. Clark's checked in. Hero, the pass to the kid. Fires for three. And again, Miami.
I would be getting our silver play button, and we're gonna put it somewhere. Oh! Right over my shoulder. Yeah, right behind me. I got a little blank screen. Listen, as somebody who has 4 silver play buttons.
Yeah.
That's exactly
with a triple. They are unconscious from outside. And so far, the defense has had no answer.
Well, that's the whole point, isn't it? If you space the floor well enough, it's almost impossible for the defense to account for everyone.
Now here's Conley. Clark with the screen from the arc. Rebound Miami. Adebayo's got his 7th rebound here tonight. Here's the kid. Reed with the rebound. Reed's got 4 rebounds now. For 3, Conley drains the triple.
This guy has got such a smooth handle that the pull-up game is always in play.
Here's the kid. Trying to answer back. That 3 is off the mark. Timberwolves trail by 9. And here's Clark. Outside Conley. 3-point. Adebayo grabs the board.
Well, this has not been a quarter to remember for this guy. He looks completely flustered.
And that one good. The kid's got 25 points in the game.
And the defense.
That'd be awesome. That'd be really, really good. Yeah.
Defense has no one to blame but themselves. I mean, they just let him get right to the rim.
To me, this has simply stated been a complete lack of defensive attention and focus all night long.
And it's a completely new group for the Timberwolves. And keeping us updated from the sideline, Allie LaForce.
Over that last break, I got a chance to hear what Chris Finch said to the team. He told his guys to, quote, turn it up, going on to say, only way we get out of this hole is with effort, incredible effort. So show me what you can do out there. It's a big ask, but we'll see what happens. Back to you.
Okay, thanks, Allie.
No.
He'll go to the triple. Minnesota shooting just 42% so far in the game. The three, DiVincenzo.
Where we talk about our hot takes and we try to...
No, fires in the triple.
You are playing with fire anytime you leave this guy open. They just got burned.
Randall with a steal. From deep. DiVincenzo can't hit.
And you just can't afford to give up that kind of look very often.
Here's the kid. Maio passes to the kid. Again, good by Miami.
At this point, I'm not sure if it's the play calling.
Half a bottle of vodka in.
Right.
Ruined my day.
You wouldn't know it from where I am.
I know just the rules. Because boy oh boy did it not say drunk defending hot takes or anything. It's just Nick, who's a surprisingly coherent drunk, being like, one piece of world building, Hunter Hunter, and that's not true. I know.
Player himself.
There's Edwards. Edwards muscles it inside.
We know this about Anthony Edwards. This guy one of the stronger guards in this game. That's a tough catch.
We played just over 3 minutes now in the fourth quarter.
The three-pointer becomes a very high percentage shot when he's that wide open. You better get a hand in his face.
Outside for Randall. From behind the arc. Rebound Miami.
He is too good a shooter, guys, to be left open like that. The defense just dodged a bullet there.
Hero. Oh, a big finish with a one-handed jam.
Both sides are simply waiting for the clock to make it official. This is going to end up in the books as a nice win for the Heat.
They had to fight for this one. With the game hanging in the balance a couple of times, they made winning plays, Grant.
It's all about having a strong mentality. What's interesting is that any time momentum turned against them, instead of folding, they responded with their own attack.
And with this win, they've tallied up a total of 6 wins on the year.
And against a non-conference opponent, you really want to win the first one. They'll go into the next one knowing how to beat this team for sure.
And what a huge performance it was for the kid.
So impressed with this performance today. He was confident, he was composed, and the defense just didn't know how to adjust.
And so they foul intentionally. And here are the Heat now. 6-point lead. And now they decide to foul intentionally. So the first one drops. And that makes it a 7-point lead. And he hits both free throws here. And it's an 8-point ball game.
Walking down to the grocery store.
That didn't
29
count.
seconds left in the fourth quarter. Driving to the basket.
Anthony Edwards has got a well-rounded offensive game. He can put it on the deck and draw contact. Shows you right there.
He hits the first one, and that narrows the gap to 7. And both free throws good for Edwards. And it's Miami's ball. And now we've got an intentional foul. And he misses the first one. Boy, he wanted that one to go. And he can't make the second free throw either. Missed them both.
And looking for a quick bucket here.
You've got to run a play that's a quick strike. You've got to immediately foul.
And he's coming off a huge performance, and his confidence couldn't be any higher. And his coach knows that, too.
Well, the best players, to me, deliver night after night after night. So as long as he's hot, keep riding it.
Timeout called the Timberwolves. There's 18 seconds left to play in the fourth quarter. Any speculation on what we're going to see coming out of this timeout?
No doubt. They've got to get a quick bucket here.
They need to score, and they need to do it quickly, but it is still possible here.
No time to waste here.
Yeah, they must score quickly.
What the fuck? He slams it right over Adebayo.
We know this about Anthony Edwards. He is fearless in these moments. That's a big-time punch delivery.
Yeah, just a must-foul situation to stop him.
Well, that hurts as he doesn't get the first one to fall. Trying to focus now for the second. And this is the second one as well, so 0 for 2 that time.
Ouch! That was a missed opportunity. Could have put this game on ice.
To tie it up. This is a 3. And an intentional foul there stops the clock. And no good. First free throw misses. We'll see if he can hit the second. He's able to hit the second one, and that gives him a 4-point cushion. So a close game sees Miami taking this one. This was a hard-fought, well-earned victory for them. They had to dig deep to come out on top.
Yeah, you know, some teams might buckle under the pressure towards the end. The crowd was so amped up, such a hostile environment. But they stood tall and got the win.
And that'll wrap it up, folks. For Grant Hill, Allie LaForce, and Doris Burke, and the rest of our 2K team.
So I want to do a quick bit of news about the podcast outside of the fact that we had 100K. I am going to be gone this weekend. And then after this weekend, I am, not this weekend,
No, you're not.
Monday I leave. But it's like a 3-day weekend, so it's like technically like MLK?
No, that happened.
What?
That happened on the inauguration. That's why it was such a big deal.
Oh, President's Day. Very different. Very different thing, especially currently. But President's Day is on Monday, so it's like a long weekend. I leave on Monday to go get a back tattoo. I am getting sedated. I'm getting
They really thought they had a chance.
9 hours. And then 4 tattoo artists. Shout out to right now. 4 wildly talented tattoo artists are all tattooing me simultaneously.
Are you an ink master's contestant?
No, I just went to my buddy when he was doing my thighs. Like, hey, I want to do a collab with these 3 other artists, and I need somebody to like really let somebody like do the butt. So it's cool. Yeah. I'm a guy. And then image guy. That's the fact that I don't think anybody who's interested in simultaneously like just right now. Not like taking like so I'm gonna be getting tattooed by Alejandro Guzman, Gordy Alejandro Blah, and Winnie, and then Lars Williams. We're all like fucking crazy talented tattoo artists. And then over the course of 2 days, we'll be dated 2 days in a row. I am getting an entire Castlevania tattoo.
I like the idea that like 3 out of 4 are incredible, and the 4th is just cheap.
She's doing actually most of the work. It's being real.
All the faces are like derpy faces. She's like, she want to do the faces.
Yeah, I'm sorry. She got tired, all right? We ran out of Bluey episodes to show her.
Yeah, you're like, it's the Last Supper. It's all faces.
Judas isn't even there. Yeah.
They all look like ditto.
Oh, the Last Supper with the all ditto. A great tattoo.
That is good.
Oh man, the Last Supper will replace all the people with Pokemon. It's a fucking unreal tattoo. Who would be Jesus?
I bet someone's done it. Let me see real quick.
You're saying Last Supper Pokemon?
Yeah.
All right, but before you look it up, I want to. Who's Jesus in that scenario? It's not, and don't say Arceus, because Arceus is God.
Lucario? Yeah, he looks like him.
But he's not a legendary.
Okay.
You know?
They're all animals. It's tough.
But
Lucario's the only one that
they're
stands.
not. But they're not all. Dialga's the master of time. All right.
He's not like a guy.
He's God. He's what he is. He's a primordial being.
I'm saying they have to be sitting at a dinner table.
Dialga's sitting at a dinner table.
Or they just at like a trough. You know?
It should be trough adjacent.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're just doing fucking. I don't know how many people were the last 12. I don't know exactly. It's all made up. But. You would need 12 binders.
Yeah.
Is there 12 binders around? Mewtwo, especially now. Mewtwo is the answer.
Oh, Mewtwo Judas?
I think ooh, that's cool. Yeah. Kind of like the idea of Ditto is Judas. Right? Like a little blob with a knife sticking out of it. That's
yeah. I like that.
I wish I was artistically talented.
Yeah, people have done it.
Have they?
Yeah, just fucking, it's not fun.
No, I mean,
this one's Arceus is head of the table, then you got like Dialga, Palkia next to him.
I feel like Pikachu's another good answer. Like, I think we're doing Pikachu here. Okay, so yeah, they made Deoxys, Judas, that's smart. Deoxys is a very active hater of Arceus. I like why we're like, oh, we're not going to do a Pokemon episode this episode. Yeah, here we are.
Yeah.
Doing Pokemon.
These Pokemon just have so much. It's like Scooby-Doo. There's so much material. We could do it forever.
Virgin Mary.
Okay, now we're talking. I was gonna say Gardevoir. I got Gardevoir in the brain lately.
That's we talked about the Pokemon made the most fuckable plushie of all time.
So Nintendo's just exposed that they know exactly what they're doing.
Yeah,
their marketing team is cracked.
I saw the Gardevoir like, no, please, Pokemon, don't do this. I hadn't seen the Lucario. The marketing difference is so fucking funny.
I can't believe, so you didn't see my original Lucario video?
No.
It's so, okay, so you can buy life-size Pokemon plushies of several Pokemon. Lucario, Gardevoir, they have a Altaria one. Because the only one I consider.
That's what I want to see.
Bird Cloud. Altaria, they have an Arcanine, which is very cool.
Let's go!
It's a very cool. They have cool. It's like $500. It's like a beanbag adjacent thing.
Yeah.
You don't like people with a beanbag?
I don't like
It's outrageous they haven't made like a buck. That's just a beanbag.
Make it up.
You know? Make it up.
Give me a break!
It's like a beanbag, but like filled with like oh, realistic.
Just hear it like beg every
Get the next one.
So the Lucario market is really funny. All the images, the first like 5 images are just like standard Walmart images of like a white void and Lucario head squaring up. Then there's like 6 images of Lucario.
One more.
Stealing your house. Absolutely.
These are boyfriends that everybody wants their boyfriend to be.
Yeah. It's very, I've never seen like a body pillow or like crush adjacent thing marketed so heavily to college age women.
Like, it is literally the most email days marketing I've ever seen.
It's like one of those like male-made cafes.
Yeah.
Where so it's like Lucario bends over a coffee table listening.
There's one where he's cooking for him. I think there's one where he's like cooking like dinner or something. He's like in the kitchen.
She's like washing dishes and he's like
holding the rack. Helping with chores.
It's so funny. It's just like a little house companion. And there's like, you know, there's one where like she's taking a nap, like a human woman is taking a nap, and he's like got his hand up her head.
Could you imagine you came home and there was just like Lucario's like tucking your girlfriend and you're like, what the fuck?
I'd rather be caught masturbating than caught doing any of the things that make fun of
fucking a Gardevoir than like being nurtured by the Lucario one.
So there's like 6 images of Lucario just treating your girlfriend the way you'll never be able to.
Yeah.
And then the Gardevoir one is those 5 like white void images, and then one of her just like standing in the corner, and your girlfriend is like off doing work.
She was on her computer, and Gardevoir's like in the corner, like a cat secret. It's great.
Like hiding from your girlfriend.
Yeah.
There are no other lifestyle in that shit.
Because they know. It's easier to sell to men than
they know what you're doing with it. Like, what's the alternative? She's just taking it from behind? Like,
yeah, I mean, they're just showing exactly where to place the shit.
Gardevoir with a cigarette in its mouth.
I would be really funny for that. And then like every episode just got a little bit dirtier. 100 episodes in, it's just missing an ear, like
dripping, and you can hear it.
Stories I could tell. Yeah.
Just split in half up to the neck somehow.
Yeah,
oh, I really want one. The second, like, if there's ways to pre-order, it'll be sold out. Like, you'll never get a Lucario one. Oh, I really, that is a good idea. God.
Like in like one of those like stores.
Yeah. It's just so funny. It's really funny. Yeah, that's the Ontario one. I'll show you Ontario.
I know Ontario. I think someone moved the basket. I think the whole thing with the left side thing is like, oh, it's like a fight. I got that crowd dog. Crowd dog. That's sick as hell.
It's like a dog get.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense, right? This is literally be a dog bed.
You kind of need to be like a really well put together Asian college girl to like fit this aesthetic.
Yeah.
Like the model they have is like perfect for like it makes
it dressed all in white, even in all white.
Yeah, this is like a factory.
It's the least creepy out of all the things. It's also the most fuckable bird in Pokemon.
Oh yeah.
Except for Corviknight.
Corviknight,
listen. Those are two different sides of the equation here. Corviknight. Altaria? Takes a look. You know?
Yeah.
That's... Dude, Corviknight is like...
Corviknight sucks.
Dude, I love... Corviknight's like one of my favorite Pokemon.
Corviknight blasts in your window, and you're like, oh, I thought I kept it closed. Yeah. And he just like walks in on his little like bird feet, and you're like, oh, it's so late. And he's like...
And then Tinkaton follows straight through the same window. I thought I saw you, bitch! Oh, that's Pokemon. Tinkaton hates Corviknight. Anyway, listen, it's winter time right now. We're heading into spring. I want to talk all I might be feeling a little sad. You know what they were doing about sad?
Yeah, easier question will ask me.
Yeah. No, we're talking about seasonal...
yeah, depression.
There he is, the man, the myth, the legend.
This is probably the tone we should be addressing this subject.
Get after it, MP.
I love the winter. I get so depressed in the summer. That's why. The second I smell spring coming, like it's the spring smell that makes me like.
Might take home one of the skiing trips from here. I don't know. I was thinking.
Won't those get soggy?
I got an air fryer.
Oh, I'm right in Danny Mana and on 85 degrees. Not even with that for some reason. Better help usually under 2 days that they're
Thanks for shaming me during our time.
I'm not your therapist, alright? That better help is gonna get you connected to one unpack the
help is gonna get me to get over you.
Yeah, and listen, and that is as specific as a better help you could ever want. It's that work. Maybe they were like, hey, you know, summertime's great. Try going outside, get some sunlight, something like that. You can use there whenever. Easily, no issue. On top of that, you can reach out to whatever therapist you have, whatever means to text, calls, video calls, anything. Better help wants to make sure that you're in touch with your therapist when you need.
Great, yeah, that's great. The fact that you can switch therapists so easily is huge, because I know a lot of people, like, the hardest part about getting therapy, once you're getting the therapy, is finding a therapist you like.
Oh, absolutely. And fortunately, BetterHelp has an absolutely massive network of 20,000 healthcare providers of therapists who can help on your journey. I know I personally have struggled in completing my work, my appeals, and things like that. BetterHelp is just like
Throw them buffs on, MP. We're in the deep.
so, guys, go ahead and hit BetterHelp.com.
How much money?
And get 10% off. And, I'm gonna back that too. I'm gonna go to Japan, and then I'm going to Korea, and then China. I'm again headed and there in healthcare. It's too expensive for me to get an MRI. So China
doesn't have health insurance.
I don't have health insurance. No.
The richest version of Charlie Kelly you'll ever meet.
I don't believe in health insurance. A guy just died in the street because they were denying claims.
Yeah.
So we're China for an MRI is like $30 a day. So
did you hear? And I'm getting this news from Wolf Critical, so news, very news. Yeah, apparently this girl posted a TikTok. She's like a surgeon.
Full-on medical, expertise woman.
The surgeon posted a TikTok.
Of course, NBA guys are secure, but it'd be good to know jury.
And reported procedure for health insurance called, making the surgeon stop the procedure, and then
Mind you also break the, has to break
the
sanitary
sanitation
level.
barrier. Breaking the sanitation barrier. Called the surgeon to confirm whether or not this was a necessary procedure. And she was making TikTok super pissed about it, just super unprofessional, especially because they clearly already agreed that it was. And the person company, United Healthcare, confirmed the most denied claim out of any health insurance company.
33.
Yeah, so if you have United Health, stop that. And so she made taking out I've been thinking about it all week. I was like, man, I'd love to set up a fund that is hey, if you cancel your health insurance and need a procedure, I will pay for you to fly to a cheaper country and get it done there.
Grandfather stayed in New York intensive care for 8 months before he died. $100,000. He's in the hospital. $100,000.
God, how? I feel like you think after 30 years to pay off. I can't believe it. There's all this money in the market.
And it's so I just use Dorothy's parents' money when I'm there. Well, I have. It's so nice going there because I just get to be 14 again.
Yeah.
They just cook for us, do our laundry, and also pay for everything. And I'm like,
Wait, I just realized you're going to get an MRI for headaches. Are you doing all right?
I'm fine.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was blind in one eye for 2 seconds a week ago. I'm not blind. I've got tunnel vision in one of my eyes. No idea what's wrong.
All right.
Probably a brain tumor. I don't know. Maybe. I fucking listen. If I
can't wait to shut you off in July.
do what I
Just get that tumor just right.
Fresh off his chemo. I'm 130. You come in you're doing 2 cycles of spread. And you're fucking. I have to beat him.
I like the idea you come waddling, shambling out, paper thin, with your walker, and you're like, Danny said I still had to do it. I come drop kick.
You're wearing 3-ounce MMA gloves. Yeah.
You're even if he was healthy, that wasn't illegal.
You rabbit punched him immediately.
Yeah.
He has a taser in his glove.
You know what I was thinking about? Speaking of the fight?
Yeah.
I'm gonna throw a scenario at you.
Okay.
You let me know what you would do.
Okay.
What if the whole fight, I just have my back turned to you and so I'm ready to punch you? Because you're not allowed to punch me in the back of my head.
I'm not allowed to punch you in the back of your head.
Yeah.
Punch you in your kidneys.
I have to make a call.
Yeah. Call your boxing coach. Not playing a shade. Get back day. You were trying to get Yujiro Honma's back and just fucking turtle up the whole time.
Cancel the bets.
You were literally gonna play maybe that Hero from Rainbow Six Siege.
Fucking Montaigne or whatever.
Yeah, not Montaigne, but the London, the British operator with the shield.
Yeah, the shield. The big shield that covers his legs even.
No, that's Montaigne.
Yeah.
French. Clash. Clash. She's new. Anyways, so we have a lot to talk about this week. Invincible dropped its first 3 episodes. Danny didn't watch Sakamoto Days. And solo leveling crashed Crunchyroll. Where should we start?
Should we do solo level? Or I guess Sakamoto Days, just because it would be quicker.
Just because you didn't see it?
I didn't. It's not out of disinterest. I didn't drop it. Almost more frustratingly, it's because I watched a lot of other things.
Yes.
I watched first 4 episodes of Pokemon Horizons.
Yes.
That's been my gym show. I don't want to read at the gym, which is why you.
Is it personal trainer or
when I do the cardio.
Got you.
I do an hour personal trainer and then 20 minutes of a run after it. So that's why you were watching One Piece stuff. You can't be balanced. You'll throw up.
Exactly.
So I've been watching Pokemon Horizons, and I watched Common Side Effects. which is the new HBO show that we'll talk about.
Oh, it's Ultimate. Yeah, no.
Yeah, it's all the same. Same with Cartoon Network. HBO owns Cartoon Network. It's all Warner Brothers. It's all, yeah, everything's under an umbrella.
Too cheap for HBO. HBO feels too expensive for Cartoon Network.
Yeah. There's only like 4 companies in the world. Let's be honest.
Procter & Gamble, Warner Brothers.
What was that first one?
All right, you got me that game. Let's run it back, though.
Okay, let's get to it.
Crest, Colgate, fucking, like, the Black & Decker, everything.
I saw like a chart once that was like, Coca-Cola actually owns everything. Like, doesn't like Disney own Coke? Something like that.
I know.
Let's see who owns Coca-Cola. It's like, this chart kind of blew me away. It made me want to kill myself.
The Alphabet company owns a lot of it. Like, they own YouTube. Meta is...
Oh yeah, Berkshire Hathaway is the most profitable company above Apple and Microsoft.
Yeah.
Also, NVIDIA is above Amazon.
Well, I mean, yeah, because AI requires, like, an insane amount of graphics cards until DC kicked down the board.
Wow, this Berkshire Hathaway, crazy.
Now you're learning.
I don't like it.
Yeah, it's not good. It's all bad. It's all bad. Everything's bad.
Anyway, Sakamoto Days?
Sakamoto Days. So I guess I'll do my review of Sakamoto Days. Sakamoto and Hardcore have an aura. There's a moment where they're fighting, and Taro's now skinny, and he literally punches Sakamoto in.
Fuck, yeah, I missed like an episode.
Yeah, it was like the first like 7 or so minutes, like Boo is doing drunken fist against the girl whose name I forget, and then Hardboiled and Sakamoto has a big old fist fight, which is pretty good. It's a fun fight. Probably, I'd say the funnest fight yet.
All right.
I don't know.
Better than the roller coaster.
Last episode, I think, is Shin's episode is also good. I think last episode is probably the best episode. This one's still pretty good.
Yeah.
And then Sakamoto and Hardboiled have an aura off. There's literally a moment where like they like literally crash a merry-go-round. Merry-go-round? No.
Don't know. I haven't seen it. Ferris wheel.
Ferris wheel. And then they're just like they crash through the wall. They're both just sitting like looking at each other, and Hardboiled just smokes a cigarette. So crazy aura. And then I basically talked about how this is like from this episode on is basically where Sakamoto Days gets cool from a building perspective, because they start to introduce like the JAA and like a real sense, and they're starting to like build stakes and scale and all that. And now the majority of like the important mover and shakers have been introduced. We have Nagamo, we have Blue, we have Shin. So it's a fun episode. It's more of a setup episode. Like even though it didn't seem like it was gonna be a setup episode, it starts with Taro versus Hardboiled. But like it's a setup episode to build out like the first real arc of Sakamoto Days. So it's fun. It's a fun episode. I mean, yeah, that's about it. You know. Yeah. I like that, and that's probably all we would have said, even if you would have watched.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a fun episode.
Yeah. It is weird. I do like this podcast because it has me watching kind of mid-tier shows I wouldn't ever otherwise. Like, I never would have finished all of Windbreaker in, like, my normal life otherwise. Yeah. And it is good that, like, even if we walk away from some shows being like, I don't really like it, or it's just okay, like, it is nice having it in my catalog.
Yeah, at least we have the most informed possible opinion of it, because we watched all of it, you know? Because we were like, oh, you know, like, we didn't watch all the time. We watched way more of Bird Mask Isekai.
Shangri-La
Frontier than I ever would have considered prior. Cool. You want to talk about Invincible, which you see?
I did see. I saw all of it real quick. Just wrapping up with like that section of like Sakamoto, Daima, this and that.
Yeah.
Rick and Morty anime. The second we stopped watching Daima, I stopped hearing about it.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Apparently they dropped an episode and everyone was like, this is a masterpiece. There was like episode like 17 got like a 9.8 on IMDb. Wow. Some shit.
I wonder what's going on. I wonder if like a new form or what's happening. Like
probably fighting Majin Buu.
Yeah.
Or maybe Buu is back. I don't know.
I wonder if they fused yet. I don't know.
They almost definitely fused.
Yeah.
I've probably got to be. Honestly, you know, we'll call them Spank once a week. We'll have them give us a 5-minute rundown of what's going on in Daima, or call tie-in.
Yeah.
I know it's the best time of your entire life. Give us a rundown of what's going on with this, and you're in this year, the Dragon Ball Daima.
I agree. I saw the other day the clip from Elusive Samurai, where he's like running circles around the guy and just jumping around him and bleeding out. What a masterpiece.
What a fun. So like just directorial masterpiece, like masterpiece, like doing the most with such a like blah story. great.
Yeah.
Like, character.
So like that's what I'm talking about. Where it's like I never would have heard of or even considered that show had it not been for this
That's why I
podcast.
think of the season. I feel like we're now 5 episodes in, and by this point we usually find some sleeper from the season that we're gonna watch, and we just don't have it.
Yeah, not yet. No.
Like Zenshu, I was like, oh, that means not this. And then just like, and it's been Sakamoto days and Soul Leveling. And Soul Leveling has been cute. Well, you want to talk about Soul Leveling first?
Sure.
Actually?
Yeah.
Soul
I
Leveling.
think Invincible will be bigger in 3 episodes.
Yeah.
So.
Also, as we established before the podcast, we're back.
What's up?
With Invincible, we may be back.
Yeah.
But like I said earlier, this episode of Soul Leveling, episode 6 of season 2, was so big that it joined a very prestigious club that only belongs to, I think,
JJK
and Attack on Titan. I think are the only 2 anime that have ever done this, but Crunchyroll crashed.
I think Demon Slayer may have.
You think so? First episode of what?
I'm pretty sure season 3.
Yo, good game, man. You could ball.
Oh, man, that was a dream come true. Look, I've met a lot of MPs in my time, but this is the first time I've hooped with one of them.
Hey, that's what we do here, man. We make dreams a reality.
Hey, man, as a token of my appreciation, I got you a couple of gifts. Can't welcome someone into the neighborhood without a gift, right?
Man, you didn't have to do that.
Hey, what can I say? Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
I didn't think you would do it. You did it, man.
I gotta say the best for last, right?
I hear that. I appreciate it.
Hey, thanks again, MP. I've really had a great time today.
Nigga, you been in my crib for about a week. What are you talking about? I done played about 4, 5, 6 games since you done pulled up. Like, what? You should have been out the crib. What'd you give me, though? That's that like a good neighbor shit. With the State Farm khakis? Now we definitely gonna have to go get shoes soon. $15 franchise, 5 franchise option. It's not bad. it. What the fuck?
This is from August 2023, so... Number 5.
You ready?
Demon Slayer. The 4th season. Oh, I think we were ready for right?
Get the popcorn ready. It's game time.
No, sorry. Release Demon Slayer's... Oh, season 3 finale. The season 3's finale crashed. It would be crazy if you wanted to warm on season 3.
Like the law of big numbers, it's one of those popular anime artists. A lot of people watching it. Regardless of how social voices on the internet say.
Yeah, that's true. You also gotta consider that, like, you're an average person who likes something, not just like comment about it.
Like, something I direct about.
Yeah. Number 4, Chainsaw Man. Yeah. What do I do? So episode 1 and 3. Wow. Yeah, before. Do you want to guess what the top 3 are?
Top 3 episodes. I think Shizuya is probably the most overhyped person in Naruto, just period. People think that he could solo Naruto, all these are stretches, to say the least. And I don't love that at all. But on the opposite side of it, there's people who are like, Shizuya has no feet, how can you scale it? But the thing is, Shizuya absolutely has feet. They just don't happen in the anime. Or in the manga, for that matter, either.
What time did you need to wake up? What time did you need to wake up?
I got the wrong shit. I'm not allowed to waste sleep.
Okay, I just wanted to be sure.
Yeah, that's the wrong shit for like 10 minutes.
Okay.
Alright.
No problem.
There's other examples. I'm making this video to say that you shouldn't jump to conclusions about somebody's power without actually doing some of the reading. On both sides.
Okay, let's turn back
So
the light.
we can all agree that Naruto wasn't raised correctly by the late. But whenever people talk about who should have raised Naruto after Minato and Sushi's death, they bring up 3 names. Jiraiya, Hiruzen, and Kakashi. You see, let's go over the first one. Jiraiya was literally the godfather of Naruto. By Minato naming Naruto Naruto, a character that Jiraiya had written, it made Jiraiya the godfather, and therefore the responsibility of raising Naruto falls on Jiraiya. So, not great. On to the next one, we have Hiruzen, who Minato quite literally just looked at and was like, please take care of my son. And then Hiruzen didn't do that. But then again, OG Naruto Hiruzen and Shippuden Hiruzen are completely different people. But whenever people bring up the Jesus fucking crap, call second. In Naruto, there are a ton of jutsus that seem to get used over and over and over again. It sure seems to give us a million different variations of the Chidori and the Rasengan and the Rasen Shuriken and the Shadow Clone. But it doesn't mean that sometimes we're not served to new, incredibly interesting and unique jutsus.
And how?
Things like stage movements, like Raijin and Blue. New jutsus that appear later on in the story, but we don't see again because they were important. Unfortunately,
Hey, MP, it's your world. We just live in it.
What's up, MP? Anywhere between 1,700 and 1,800 of them have only ever been used once. So today, I want to take a step away from normality. Today, I want to take a look into the jutsus that were critically underutilized, incredibly unique or powerful jutsus that were introduced and then just kind of forgot. And now this list is not a list of jutsus that have only been used one time. That could be a whole segment.
You guys are win this! This is your game! Go, go!
And a chance for everyone to get some shots up. Find the touch. Find the range. Find themselves. We're almost at game time. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the first matchup of the NBA Cup. There is a lot of excitement in this building tonight. I'm Kevin Harlan, along with Greg Anthony and Brett Barry, our terrific analysts, and David Aldridge is our sideline reporter. Now we get a chance to check out some stats for Asar Thompson.
In the last 5 games, you can see the trend upwards for effective field goal percentage. And it shows you how confident he's playing right now.
So the opening lineup for the Heat, Hero out there with the kid. Then it's Wiggins. Then it's Bam Adebayo. And it's Ware in at the 5 spot. And for the Pistons, inside for him, it's Harris and Durham. Sliding in at the wing spots, it's Ivy and Thompson. And it's Schroeder in at the point. And a little extra at stake tonight, as this is the first game of the NBA Cup group stage for each of these teams.
And both coaches want to get that first win under their belt. With only 4 games in this stage, the tournament doesn't give you much room for error.
And it's the Pistons to start out. On the wing, Harris. He's guarded by Adebayo. Pass to Ivy. Launches a 3. Basket is good. The assist from Harris.
Oh, how about the quick thinking by Ivy? I love when he goes right at it with the shot.
Will passes to Sosa. From outside the arc, Detroit with the rebound. They went to Miami for their last meeting with the Heat and came out with a win.
Not a close contest either. The last time they got together, everyone in the rotation played solid, and the bench was the difference.
The second unit came in last game and just played lights-out basketball. I'm sure they'd like to do that again.
No hesitation from Adebayo there. Had to love seeing him taking this shot with confidence.
Recent times have certainly been tough in Detroit. They had 14 wins last season, a franchise record low.
And Kevin, if you look, Detroit's last 5 seasons, 23 wins is the most they've had. So their fan base hungry for a win in the middle city.
And Adebayo sends it down. Inside. Terrific assist, a nice finish, solid play.
I did watch that one yesterday.
We actually don't know anything about.
All around.
Bam knowing what to do. He's owning the paint right now.
Order passes to Thompson. Six on the shot clock. Banked in off the glass.
An explosive player. Thompson has serious leaping ability, and that comes in handy around the basket.
Sosa the pass to Adebayo. Here's the kid. This one for three. Thompson with the rebound. To the middle, and stolen by Wiggins. And that's out of bounds. Miami will retain possession. We have the break in the action. Let's show you the teams that have been making their opponents work especially hard over the past 10 games. The Heat in second.
Well, over the past couple weeks, this defense has found itself locked in. They've played hungry, and they've played physical.
Malik Beasley, he's checked in for Sam Johnson. The Pistons have gone 2 for 4 from the field so far today. Harris against Adebayo. Schroeder. No good with the triple. Miami trailing. Pass to the kid. Back to Adebayo. Here's the kid. Coming off a solid outing against Minnesota. 5 to shoot. Connects from three-point range.
And they don't want to get in a habit of giving him open looks from three. First quarter still, but not who you want to leave open.
And that one's good. Schroeder.
He's such a strong offensive player. Schroeder is capable of knocking down some mid-range shots if you give him some room.
Adebayo passes to Hero. 1:36 left to play here in the first. And the three ball is good. 6 points for the kid.
You can't just stop when there's a pick set up. Gotta fight over it as a defender.
That's one that the coaches will watch tomorrow with that player. You hate to see him give up in that situation.
And with an update from the sidelines, let's check in with David Aldridge.
Kevin, thank you. Tobias Harris, over the course of his career, has played a lot at both forward positions. He says, I'm comfortable playing both. I'm not big on the position thing. I'm versatile. Kevin, he's just a basketball player and a very, very good one.
I would agree, David. I know you like him. We like him as well. A very skilled one at that. Thank you very much. And again, Miami with the triple.
And the story here, Kevin, early on is how well they've shot the basketball.
Bro, I went 0-3 and then came back 3 for 8.
There's 42 seconds left to play in the first quarter. And here's Ivy. He picked up 15 points in the last game against Houston.
And he was also a terrific creator in that game as well. His assist totals show you what a fantastic all-around effort it was.
First free throw is good. For Jaden Ivey, the offense, Brent, looks great. Defensively, though, there's a lot to improve on.
We need to trade
sometimes
that
as an individual defender, you can look worse because the team defense isn't there. And so there's been sort of this reflective quality about it.
And it's like, how the fuck you want me to raise Bam Adebayo's shooting before the end of the season? Oh, I just got to get that for one game.
But for Jaden to take on or take the next step, certainly defensively, with all of that athletic ability, he could be elite on that end of the floor.
Now 8 seconds separating the two clocks. There's the pick for the three. Yep, it's good. And another three from Sosa. The kid's got 12.
Yeah, this looks like a pregame shoot-around with all the threes they're allowed.
Here's Ivy. And slam dunk by Ivy.
And man, can Ivy fly. I mean, a big-time finisher.
Here's the kid from past the arc. No good that time. And that does it for the first quarter. It's the Heat. They're up by 5. The second quarter coming up right after.
Created by Minato and then passed down to Jiraiya.
And for those of you just tuning in, the second quarter of action is where we're at right now. And a closer look here at the scoring breakdown for the Heat.
We've got a bunch of this game yet to be played, but they're shooting it well from the three-point line. That's got to be a welcome sight.
So much good energy and flow tonight, and it's really come out a great ball movement. Guys have been open, and as soon as they are, they get the ball.
And for Miami, look at who they've got out there. Alec Burks is out there with the kid. Then there's Kyle Anderson. Then it's Robinson. And it's Jovic in at the center position. On its way from Beasley for 2. Busts the J after the cagey pass fake. Beasley's got his first basket.
Now, what a great option he gives them on every possession.
Anderson gets the screen from Sosa. Right wing. Shoots the 3. Rebound by the Pistons. Coming into this, having notched the win against the Rockets in their last game.
And in that one, the backups came to play. Gave the team an infusion of points that just put them over the top.
Well, I talked to the assistant coaching staff. What they were stoked about is that the bench guys came in and played well. So punch off the bench, a big factor in that one.
And there's a pattern starting to take shape here. They're working it inside and getting good shots from close range.
Good ball movement here by Miami. Thompson against Robinson. Robinson off a pick from Sosa. Miami no good on that time either.
Very dangerous to leave a guy like that open. Lucky break there for the D.
And this is game 1 of the group play stage of the NBA Cup. Teams are divided and the 6 groups are found.
And while those groups are randomly selected in the drawing, there is an attempt to kind of keep them balanced with teams slotted from different tiers based on their previous season record.
Burks on the wing. Goodbye Beasley. The trade.
That was my pick.
Burks has got his first bucket of the game, and he's on the board for 3. Pistons trail by 4. Hardaway finds Stewart. Back to Hardaway. From 13. The rebound by Anderson. Miami's gone 1 or 2 on 3-pointers here in the second quarter. Pass to Burks. Takes it off the glass. Burks has got 5 points in the quarter.
About a lot of the Rasengan's on this list. The fact that Kurama's chakra is in them is kind of inherent. Any Rasengan made after Naruto and Kurama became buddies is going to have Kurama's chakra in it inherent. So when you compare the Vermilion Rasengan to a regular Rasengan that Naruto would use after becoming buddies with Kurama.
Nice job creating for the easy deuce.
And J.B. Bickerstaff is called a timeout. He's made the decision he wants to huddle up with his guys. And a different look here for the Pistons. Jalen Durham, he's checked in for Stewart. Harris comes in for Holland. Jaden Ivey, he's checked in for Thompson. And Dennis Schroeder subbed in for Hardaway. And a new group in for the Heat. Ware's checked in. Bam Adebayo comes in for Kyle Anderson. Jaime Jaquez, he's checked in for Duncan Robinson. And it's Tyler Hero in for the kid. And contact on the shot, so he'll be shooting free throws here. And when it comes to Jalen Duren, Brent, is it fair to say some teams regretted not drafting him?
Well, maybe a handful, Kevin. I mean, there's a particular way that you want to play or use that position with how you get out there offensively. Jalen is a proven big. This guy is physical and strong and can rebound and gives you a different presence on the inside.
And he knocks down the first one. And when you take a look at Jalen Duren, a big man, Greg, who seems to get better each and every season.
Well, you know, he averaged a double-double in his second season. I especially like how hard he goes after rebounds. This guy has a bright future in this league.
Andrew Wiggins, who's checked in for Burks. He doesn't get the second one.
Well, a former lottery pick in Jalen Duren, and what you love about him is he plays with energy and great passion.
Against Duren. Gets it out to Hero. And it goes out of bounds. Last touch by Adebayo. Asar Thompson, he's checked in for Malik Beasley. And Schroeder's got the ball here for Detroit. They've only allowed 5 points in the quarter. Here's Ivy. They grabbed her on this. And Duren is it in.
And Duren has that length to pull out anything around the basket.
The Heat leading by 3. Wiggins outside. And it's Adebayo in the corner. Hawkins outside. The Heat making a switch here. Love's checked in. The Pistons have gone 50% from the floor in the second quarter, 3 of 6. Pass to Duren. Harris looking it over. Ivy against Wiggins. 6 to shoot. Out to Harris on the arc, and he's good on the 3-ball. Harris has got the game tied up here for the Pistons.
And you look at combo forwards that can help you provide some spacing out there. Harris right now spotting up and hitting.
Wiggins from the inside, traps in the tray.
Nice answer back there. Love to see the competitors.
Yeah, both teams finding ways to the 3-point line and trying to take advantage from distance.
Here's Ivy. That's good for his 3rd bucket. Now 3 for 6 from the field.
Well, we've seen Schroeder stepping up more as a distributor, leading this ball club now.
Now, Hero. He had a 15-point outing in their last game against the Timberwolves in Minneapolis. Wants to get it to Adebayo and does. Out of bounds. Detroit takes possession. We've got 22 seconds left in the first half of basketball. Ivy with it. He's got 9. Duren with the screen on Wiggins. Here's Ivy. Here's Duren. Nice work on the board. It's paying off with the basket. Duren's got 5. So that'll be it for the first half. Fairly even battle underway in this one. Pistons lead by 1. And we'll be back right after halftime for the start of the 3rd quarter. We'll see you in a bit.
Hi, everybody. We've got your favorite segment on tap as we check out how the Eastern Conference is shaping up.
Looking at Miami,
It's still early, and we don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but right now, they are easily the best team in the league.
Well, we knew they'd be good, but we didn't know they'd be this good. Shifting focus, how about this tight game the Detroit Pistons find themselves in?
This is some retro hoops, pounding the ball inside with intent. Man, I know you love this big fella.
No need to take a million jumpers. Work with the rock down low. Good things will happen, don't you know?
Ooh, you're rhyming and you didn't even know.
And that is it for halftime, folks. It is back to Kevin Harlan and the crew for the second half.
Boruto having the ability to make a Rasengan vanish isn't the only weird take he's had on a Rasengan. So outside of adding lightning nature to his Rasengan to make it invisible, has also found a way.
And we've got second half action for you. Thus far, a pretty evenly contested game. A fantastic game from the kid in this one.
Well, through the first two, he has been nothing short of a marksman from deep.
Yeah, you would hope the defense at least would start to consider creeping up on him just a little bit.
And it's the Heat with the ball. Next game.
Through those defenses.
I didn't
While
know
even this
this
compression
game.
Rasengan wasn't strong enough to punch through deepest defenses, the super compression Rasengan, which was made by Boruto creating a compression Rasengan and combining it with Mitsuki's Senjutsu Chakra and Sarada's brute strength, was able to punch through what was deemed as nigh impenetrable armor in deepest carbon armor. However, the act of compressing a Rasengan results in a huge amount of recoil on the user of the compression Rasengan. So even though this Rasengan has a serious amount of armor-piercing potential, it also can result in destroying the user's hand. But they said the same thing about the Rasen Shuriken, and well, nothing really ever happened there. But we're actually going to keep it with Boruto here and talk about another extension of the compression Rasengan, spiraling bullets. See, Boruto has now figured out how to make a Rasengan with 2 fingers. Well, it's more Momoshiki has figured out how to do. This is an ultra-small condensed Rasengan that Borushiki is able to point at people and fire like a gun. As it is a compressed Rasengan, it also has the penetrative power of a compressed Rasengan, but now it can be fired at high velocities. This is an incredibly versatile weapon for the mid to long range fight, essentially making Boruto's arm into an armor-piercing sniper. Not to mention, since this is Boruto we're talking about here, hypothetically lightning release could be added to it to make it invisible. And while you could argue this technique is very similar to something like a water bullet or a sand bullet, the fact that it's a Rasengan and a penetrative Rasengan puts it significantly above any of those techniques, because those techniques explode upon contact, while a condensed Rasengan penetrates and then explodes. In essence, it operates a bit like a hollow point, if somehow a hollow point was also an armor-piercing round. But enough about Boruto, let's get back to Naruto. With number 7, we're talking about planetary Rasengan. And while obviously I think we all wanted this Rasengan to just be a Rasengan the size of a planet, it's unfortunately not that. See, the planetary Rasengan got its name because of its weird shape. Essentially, it's planetary because Naruto creates a big ball Rasengan and then surrounds it with multiple regular-sized Rasengan. And these regular-sized Rasengan revolve around the big ball Rasengan like moons around a planet. Now, genuinely, when it comes down to it, this is the height of shape transformation in Naruto.
And they'll take on the Pacers.
Create a big ball Rasengan, he then has to create 3 to 4
Now I'm confused on why those lights came back on.
In Indianapolis at Cambridge Fieldhouse. That will be the 5th game of the 6-game road trip. Thompson and Harris are their forwards. Dennis Schroeder is out there with Jaden Ivey. And it's Duran in at the center. That's the group for Detroit right now. Greg, every year, injuries are a huge factor in shaping the title race. And I'm guessing that teams should probably put more of a premium on durability. What do you think?
Well, Kevin, I think all GMs take that into account. A team wants to be confident it'll have a...
Even further is that not only are you being hit by a Rasengan, multiple Rasengan to be specific, after being hit by this Rasengan, you're sucked into a wind vortex that slams you into the ground at a high velocity. Naruto used this technique against Edo Tensei Mu, and it basically destroyed Mu's body so badly that it took him a while to regenerate. The reason that's significant is because anytime an Edo Tensei body is destroyed by anything, usually it regenerates immediate. However, since Moo's body took so long to regenerate, it showed how powerful this technique was. Now, putting planetary Rasengan at that spot is kind of weird, because number 6 on our list is the big ball Rasengan, and technically the planetary Rasengan is just a derivative of the big ball Rasengan, but I feel confident with my placements here. That's mostly because the big ball Rasengan is more powerful than the planetary Rasengan.
Through the roster over the course of a long season. And he's a big combo guard, and Ivy plays with no fear in him.
Hero kicks to Ware. Here's the kid, Ivy defending. Sosa the pass to Adebayo. Ivy with it. Now down by Sosa. Let's check in with our reporter, David Aldridge.
Now this technique is less known because
shorter from scoring the rest of the quarter.
Gen 1 cloak form. Create a big ball Rasengan on his back using the Kurama chakra arms. He then maintains that big ball Rasengan on his back and uses...
Kevin, we all know about what heat culture means. Bam Adebayo says we share the ball, play together, and we know where the shots are going to come from. We're just blessed to have a team like this. Everybody buys in, everybody competes, and everybody wants to get the job done. Kevin, back to you.
They've got great chemistry. Thanks, David. This is his first trip to the line tonight.
Adebayo is by no means an ordinary big in this league. He's just one of the few players in the NBA who can legitimately guard 1 through 5, a true defensive anchor.
And Miami making a change here. Robinson's checked in. And Adebayo drops them both.
Naruto tried to use an ultra big ball Rasengan against the reincarnated Madara, to which Madara was able to block it with simply a
And it's Thompson with the ball. He'll bring it up for Detroit. Trailing by 2. Harris outside. Thompson kicks to Ivy. With the drive. He's back up. And Turin lays it in. Turin.
This Shinobi work that Delta had, which grants her the ability to absorb chakra, was based off the Karma Seal, which is...
He's got 7 points.
They should continue to get the ball inside. The defense struggling to contain them.
Here's Hero. And it's good.
And mind you, every single member of Kara is walking Nagito, Obito,
I got Delta.
Itachi, and Naruto was not even necessarily trying, was able to destroy her with his super ultra big ball. Every able to put out more chakra in this chakra was based off the Karma Seal.
I believe I
Able
have her.
to absorb any kind of chakra, and that Naruto was able to put out more chakra in this ultra big ball Rasengan than she could absorb. He's insane. I mean, this is Delta we're talking about, and she is one of the stronger members of Kara. And mind you, every single member of Kara is dog walking Same. I mean, this is Delta we're talking about, and she is one able to put out more chakra in this ultra big ball Rasengan than she could absorb. The chakra was based off the Karma Seal, which is able to absorb any kind of chakra, and that Naruto was able to put out more chakra in this ultra big ball Rasengan than she could absorb. He's insane. I mean, this is Delta we're talking about, and she is one of the stronger members of Kara. And mind you, every single member of Kara is dog walking Nagito, Obito, Itachi, and Naruto, while not even necessarily trying, was able to destroy her.
2 points.
Fighting the inside defender, Hero really works to get to the bucket.
The Pistons have gone 2 of 4 here to start the second half. Well, Branson's entering the NBA. Tyler Hero has been a constant.
The big ball, or an ultra big ball, or a super ultra mega big ball Rasengan.
Scoring threat.
Yeah, Kevin, the scoring for Tyler Hero is always going to be there. He is a the defensive improvement and really just the physicality that he needs to play with. Those are areas that Tyler can shore up a little bit to make sure he's on the floor for some of the biggest moments of the season.
Good ball movement here by Miami.
Why the fuck didn't you shoot it,
Takes
bro?
a 13-footer. Rebound by the Heat.
Rasengan and create it as such. And then Killer B would watch Naruto.
Free throw average, field goal average,
Naruto when the ratio was correct.
assist.
Naruto could remember what that ratio felt like.
So I don't actually have to be on the floor for some of that shit to go up.
However, during the war arc, Naruto finally achieved Kurama's full cooperation and thus was able to create Tail Beast Falls. And after figuring out how to make Tail Beast Falls, Naruto then...
Bio's got 4 rebounds now tonight. Here's the kid. He's got 15. No good from outside. Back the defender off his feet at the pump fake, but couldn't knock it down. For the lead. And it's Schroeder missing.
Oh, that's a golden opportunity to finish on the break, and he blows it.
Completely lost focus. You can't get 2 steps ahead.
The Heat have been perfect at the line so far, be it just 2 for 2. Free throw good from Sosa. Stewart's checked in for Detroit. Malik Beasley comes in for Thompson. He hits one, and misses the second attempt from the free throw line.
They come away with the lead, but I'm sure he's kicking himself over that last miss.
Schroeder kicks to Beasley. Back to Schroeder. Lets it go from deep. Miami grabs the miss.
Is it getting cold in here? This is a tough one. Crucial that he starts to work a little harder for a higher percentage shot.
There's a screen. Burks the pass to Sosa. Buries the long-range jumper. Now it's a 6-point Heat lead.
You can't just stop when there's a pick set up. Gotta fight over it as a defender.
That's one that the coaches will watch tomorrow with that play. You hate to see him give up in that situation.
We've got 1:18 left to play in the third. Here's the kid. 19 points in the game. Anderson the screen. And that drops in from beyond the arc. 3-pointer from Sosa. The kid's got
with a Rasengan, Naruto achieved
the lead up to 7 now for Miami. The Pistons have gone 4 of 9 from the floor so far in the third. Stewart with the screen on Robinson. Beasley for 3. Good on the triple. Beasley's got 5.
Coming right back with a 3 of his own. That's Beasley.
40 seconds left in the third. Here's the kid. He's got 22. Jacks up a 3. Doesn't get a good drop for him.
And they had some last coverage that turned into no coverage.
Now here's Schroeder. He's guarded by Sosa. And it's Schroeder missing.
Just cannot get anything to go. If there's going to be a way to get out of this hole, I don't think he'll be the one to do it.
Here's the kid. Anderson a screen on Beasley. The third quarter comes to a close. Heat out front, leading by 4. Don't go anywhere. The final quarter is coming up next. Head coach Eric Spoelstra mic'd up along the sideline.
Once we get the rebound, get to those corners, right?
Where Naruto combines his Rasengan with Hinata's twin lion fists. Essentially, Naruto and Hinata.
Detroit ends up going with the new group. The Heat also changing it. Ware's checked in, and it's the kid in for Robinson. We're in the final quarter of play here, 3 minutes in. Here's Sosa. Miami no good on that time either. The Pistons lead it. On the court for the Heat. They've got Wiggins. Tyler Hero out there with the kid. Then it's Bam Adebayo. And it's Ware. And at the 5, down low. Adebayo gets to Wiggins. Adebayo with a screen on Thompson. And it's Wiggins missing. Detroit started the three-pointer 11 times tonight, and they're 5 of them. It's good by Jordan.
Percentage score didn't know how to deliver when it's do or die time.
Adebayo passes to Sosa. It's Adebayo. Here's the kid. Brian the screen. Offensive rebound. Adebayo pulls it down.
Bam stepping up and making a huge play for his team that time.
How many points does he have now? 8.
Detroit's gotten off 4 3-pointers in the final quarter, and 2 of them have fallen. Here's Ivy. Miami grabs the miss. 1:04 left to play here in the fourth. There's a good screen. Sosa knocks down the three.
Remember that one, guys. A different.
Use that Rasengan. We've seen this happen twice in Naruto. One was when Minato and Naruto, both in their Nine Tails full form, combine their chakra to make a massive Rasengan that they used against Jubito. Now, what does
I'm wondering, is that the biggest shot of the game?
And timeout call by J.B. Bickerstaff. Coach clearly feeling the necessity to regroup with so much at stake here.
You want me to go with you? You good? Okay. You sure? You gonna text me when you get there? If anything, it's like them straight. You feel me? Yeah. I know that. You feel me? Alright? I love you too. Please get there safe, please. I know it's not a. The Uber driver is gonna get you there safely. We know God's gonna have you. We're gonna get you there safely. I love you. Okay.
Right now, I send it over to the sidelines and get a report from David Aldridge.
Hey, Kevin, during that last break, I heard J.B. Bickerstaff talking with his team. Now, he was quite encouraging in the huddle. He said, look, you're fighting out there, fellas. I can see it. I need you to keep giving me everything you have. Bring this one home. See if they can pull it off, guys.
Okay, David, thanks. Fires from the wing.
Bam!
And this is a huge step showing trust in Bam's
My
play.
mama allowed that to happen.
With the step back. Here's Ivy. And they call the
Oh!
so a chance of
Everyone wants to see from Ivy. He has to attack without hesitation in those situations.
He sinks the clutch free throw.
In the whole game resting on one free throw, and he buries it. Tremendous try.
Hero finds Adebayo. Launches it. And again, Miami with the triple.
Well, and this has been their strategy throughout the fourth period. We'll see how it pans out.
It's one thing to have teams shoot a bunch of threes, but with this team being that hot defensively, you got to chase them away from anywhere near that line.
And J.B. Bickerstaff is called a timeout. No doubt he is feeling the importance of this moment right now. Any ideas on strategy being discussed right now in that hole?
And if you can get a three, shoot it. Otherwise, get the quick two and a foul.
Don't force something up. You got to be smart.
And they commit an intentional foul. We'll see another one of those so they can get into the penalty.
Honestly, just doing what they have to in order to get the basketball back.
I thought he was going to foul me.
Pressure from Ivy on the defensive side of the ball.
No good on the quick three. And Thompson kicks to Harris. Oh, huge basket to tie the game. And timeout is called by Eric Spoelstra. The magnitude at this juncture in the game clearly warranting a timeout. Here's Sosa. Off target from downtown. And regulation now complete. We will go to overtime.
Bam!
Well, 4 quarters weren't enough to decide this ballgame. Sit back and enjoy as we move on to overtime.
before anime was even an idea. Shinto mythology, Hinduism, Buddhism, the journey to the West, monogatari, which are Japanese epics. All of these things have inspired all anime that you consume. But here's the thing, if your understanding of Japanese mythology and Japanese monogatari is cursory at best, you wouldn't see these connections. You would just see, huh, that anime seems like this anime, without realizing that the reason that these two anime look alike isn't because this anime is based off this anime, it's because they're both based off of the same Japanese mythological.
Now Hero, we've got the kid. He's out there with Tyler Hero, Kevin Love out there with Kyle Anderson, and it's Jovic in at the first spot. Anderson against Thompson. Down to 5 on the shot clock. There's Hero with the 3.
What are you talking about?
That's his fifth make on 9 shots from the floor.
Yeah, there's 6 points on consecutive 3 balls. You're finding holes now in the deep.
And here's Schroeder. It's hauled in by Hero. Hero's got his 4th rebound with that last one here tonight. Here's Sosa. And the rebound goes to the Pistons. Harris has got 4 rebounds in this game. It's Thompson at the jam.
Gotta do more than this to stop Thompson. He's used to having to fight through contact.
And we'll have a timeout called by Eric Spoelstra. He's clearly intent on wanting to lock in and make sure everyone's on the same page.
Hinduism, Buddhism, monogatari, basically, if it came from before any of us were alive, that's what I want to talk about. Because by depicting to you just how much of Naruto is not original IP, I believe I can better display why some anime happen to look so silly, and how that's not an anime issue, but like a Japanese history issue. And relax, because today, we're getting into our first actual history lesson. Because today, we're talking Naruto.
Not history with Nick. Not history with Nick. History with Nick and OT is Ray Craig.
Go ahead and follow my other channel with me, Commander, where instead of talking about Naruto and Boruto, I talk
And what action in this one? We're about 1 minute into overtime. That gives them the lead. Ivy's got 22 points.
And this young guy, Ivy, is doing anything he wants right now, dominating in effortless fashion.
Kicks it out to Hero. Thompson against Anderson. To the kid. And again, it's the Heat missing. And so it's Schroeder with the ball, bringing it up to the Pistons.
I'm not sure how he finds himself in so much space there. He's kicking himself to whiffing a bit on that one.
Sosa the pass to Hero. Hero gives a screen from Sosa. Hero will do it. Detroit's down 6 of 14 for 3 balls tonight. He's still over 40%.
That understanding where he's trying to go with his stories becomes a whole lot easier. So now, let's get into making you understand Naruto. Now, there's really... You gotta like the fire you get with Ivy. Turn up the intensity to get the ball.
To the kid. Takes a 3. Connects again from distance. The Rangers take triple the game. Pivotal moment in this game. He's not taking any chances. He'll call time.
Which I really kind of explains very briefly what a monogatari is. I'm not talking about the monogatari series written by the series, the original but confused at the time. What we're talking about is an extended prose type of literature, comparable to what people in Eurocentric civilizations would call So, in essence, a monogatari is a long story that was written during a certain period in Japan. And the monogatari that the legendary song come from is, you're going to love this, The Tale of the Doomed Jiraiya, which, as the title is obviously the inspiration for the majority of
The Heat making a switch here.
Story? I mean, yes, they are, but they're also the main characters of this story. And unfortunately, between this Monogatari and Naruto, they share more than just names. See, in this Monogatari, Orochimaru is the bad, the enemy of Tsunade and Jiraiya. And the
Here's Ivy. Detroit, no good that time either. Here's the kid. He's covered by Thompson. Hero versus DeSosa. He set the pick. Here's the three. Jordan pulls it in. What a big possession right here.
No doubt about it. The tension is high.
3-second difference between shot clock and game time. Here's Ivy. Shot clock at 6. Now we've got the intentional foul. And J.B. Bickerstaff is calling the timeout. This is a huge moment, folks, in this game. And he wants to be prepared. Releases from 15. Oh, target. And so we are tied again at the end of overtime. Now we're headed to overtime number 2. Don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be back in just a moment.
People like Mikoto Uchiha decided to name their child after him. Now, Sasuke Sarutobi existed before the likes of Hiruzen, but he acts not only as an influence for Sasuke, but the entirety of the Sarutobi clan. See, because Sasuke Sarutobi is usually talked about as having monkey-like agility.
And as we play on into another overtime, you know these teams must be wearing down. It's become a battle of attrition. Schroeder against Hero. He kicks to Thompson. To the paint. Here's Jordan. No stopping him there. James it in as he's fouled. Chance now for a three-point play. It's going to be on Andrew Wiggins.
Which was written in the late 16th century. Now, Journey to the West is one of the most legendary stories ever written and acts as a large fountain of inspiration for tons of anime. Be it Goku from Dragon Ball.
Free throw, no good for Curran. Miami trailing. Here's Sosa. Heckman falls coming off Adebayo's feet. 33 points.
Wait, I gave him another one?
Can wield him. And thus Hiruzen and Monkey King Enma, kind of acting in tandem, are supposed to represent Sun Wukong, while also representing
Everybody got
Sasuke.
we get in there, we get in there. What are you talking about?
For the kid. Schroeder outside. Beyond the arc. Rebound by the Heat.
Sometimes you just have an off night, guys, and that's what we've seen so far.
The kid can't hit. Detroit's gotten a three-point bug tonight. They've taken 15 shots outside the arc. 6 of 15. Heroes outside. Shot clock at 5. The Pistons need to get off a shot here. Gets it to go from beyond the arc. Ivy's got 27.
And if Ivy can hit this shot with consistency, it really makes him a tough target.
It's to the kid. Fires from deep. It's rebounded by Schroeder.
You can get the sense that he's hit a lot here in OT. He just hasn't been comfortable at all.
Here's Sosa.
No.
Okay,
I thought I missed him.
The kid's got 35 in the game.
I like the intensity Hero brings defensively. He's aggressive and trying to
Why?
the offense missing it though.
And obviously Obviously, his momentum from the last game has carried over here tonight.
And Coach is pretty smart for zoning in on him and giving him opportunities to stay with that confident play.
A three-pointer is right on target.
You can't just stop when there's a pick set up. Gotta fight over it as a defender.
That's one that the coaches will watch tomorrow with them play. You hate to see him give up in that situation.
To take the lead. An offensive rebound.
Oh yeah, that put you at what? 12? 12? 12?
And that's the thing that returns. This guy's played in the finals, so Adebayo knows.
Here, quite obvious. Hagia descends from space down to the world. She lives amongst humans for a little bit until humans realize that she herself is not human, at which point she has to return to outer space. However, in Naruto, how it happens is that Hagoromo and Hamura seal her in the moon, which does technically send her back to the moon, even though the moon didn't exist prior to her being sealed. So the entire purpose of Kaguya's character in Tale of the Bamboo Cutter is returning her to the moon, while in Naruto, the entire purpose is resealing her inside of the moon. Hagoromo is instrumental in the representation of sending her back to the moon, because in the Tale of the Bamboo Cutter, she was sent back with a Hagoromo, and in Naruto, she was sent back by Hagoromo. Then Hagoromo would go on to take the 10 tails that she kind of was for a little bit and split it into 9-tailed beasts, who are all very symbolic. The first and most obvious out of all of the connections between the tailed beasts and real-life animals are how to handle the pressure.
Now, here's Hager. Covered by Sosa.
He went for the two-hander on the slam, using some urgency from him there.
For three, the kid gets the bucket.
The way he's going to pass that shot.
What achievement?
Way too far back.
Milestone? 100 points made.
Getting out on him.
And J.B. Bickerstaff is called a timeout. And he knows there's no room for mistakes and wants everyone on the same page. Duncan Robinson, he's checked in for the kid.
So the human that owns a Taniki can sell the tea kettle to a priest, and then the Taniki can turn back into a Taniki and run away after they get the money. However, this folktale is based off a legend, where Bambuku Chagama is the name of a tea kettle owned.
And so the big win by Miami in a tight game. And tonight, not just a regular season win.
Bro,
it also counts in the NBA Cup standings.
I really almost
And if you look at the teams that advance in the Cup, you normally have to win this first game. So
if we would have lost that, I would have cried.
Villages catches Shukaku for the first time. They steal Shukaku and Bunbuku, not Bunbuku. Bunbuku is the name of the story. Bunbuku with a B is the name of the first Jinchuriki of Shukaku inside of a tea kettle. And this isn't the only time that Shukaku ends up in a teapot or tea kettle of sorts, as when he's transported from the Hidden Sand Village to the Hidden Lake Village by Team 7.
That's how we stand on business.
But in a pond, which is all a reference to Bunbuku Chagama. That's not where the symbology in the 9-tailed beast ends, because Son Goku is also a reference to that guy we brought up already, Son Wukong. Son Goku the Four Tails is kind of based off Goku, who's kind of based
Wins,
off Son
pay the
Wukong.
bills, baby.
Son Goku was referred to as the king of the sage monkeys, which is exactly what Son Wukong is referred to as. But more than that, there's also the fact that Hagoromo decided to place Son Goku in a mountainous area with a waterfall. Because in the beginning of the journey to the west, Son Wukong lives in a cave with a bunch of other monkeys. And in order to start his journey, he has to traverse through a waterfall to leave the cave. So Son Goku being placed in a mountainous area with waterfalls is a reference to where Son Wukong started from. But Nick, are we done with the journey to the west yet? No. Now the rest of the Tailed Beasts aren't really references to anything, I don't think. I think the 8 tails
32. Bam had 30.
The 7 tails is just based off Stag Beetle. I think the 2 tails Matsutabi might be based off some mythological cat. Oh yeah,
Bam had 17.
Which is a Japanese folktale that when a cat reaches a certain
Bam had 60. Bruh, there's no way. Do I have to be in the game to go out and do that?
Take it. They're snail demons that hunted pirates and took their treasure. However, in order to pull pirates to them, they would look like beautiful women, and then once the pirates got close enough, back to snail demons. So back to the Journey of the West, because characters like Son Goku and Hiruzen and Monkey King Enma are the only references to the Journey to the West that we see in Naruto. As characters like Kinkaku and Ginkaku are also references to the Journey of the West. But like, they are and they aren't. See, prior to Kinkaku and Ginkaku being two demon brothers within the Journey of the West, Kinkakuji and Ginkakuji were temples in Japan. Specifically, Buddhist Zen temples in Kyoto. Now, Kinkakuji is the gold tower. It's much more famous of the two. Basically, if you've ever been to Kyoto or ever had a friend who went to Kyoto, they've
Get
been
ready to light it up
Kinkakuji.
tonight.
And if you're ever planning to go to Kyoto, I recommend you do go to Kinkakuji's. It's a 3-story pagoda with the outside layered in gold leaf, and an emperor's soul is enshrined there. The Japanese don't have like physical mummies, but they always enshrine the soul of their emperors into a temple. Now, Kinkakuji is the less famous of the two towers, and that's probably because it's the silver tower, and people just like gold more than silver historically. But these two towers are always viewed as two separate entities that coexisted, and that idea was put to paper in the Journey to the West, where Kinkaku and Ginkaku are two demon brothers that come up against Sun Wukong, and represent arguably his strongest challenge in the entirety of the Journey to the West. And do they battle against Sun Wukong, but they also kidnap his master. And the reason that Kinkaku and Ginkaku, the two demon brothers, are so powerful is because they were born from a 9-tailed big snake. So I'm sure you can see the relation. Enough about the Journey to the West, let's go way further back than that. Let's talk about Shinto lore. Now, Shintoism is kind of like the Greek mythology of Japan. It was the primarily believed religion in Japan until things like Hinduism, Buddhism, and Christianity found Japanese mainland. Many things, and I mean many things in Naruto, are named after Shinto lore. In fact, pretty much every single thing that has to do with an evolved version of the Sharingan ties its roots back to Shinto lore.
Mid is
An MS ability that allows you to manifest black flames that burn forever is just the name of the Japanese sun goddess. On top of Amaterasu being the goddess of the sun, she also had the ability to transform into a crow, much in the same way that Zeus would turn into hawks and fly down.
I feel like that would be easier. This would be easier to do.
As Itachi not only wields Amaterasu and was the first person to do so, but also ties the majority of his kit to crows. Now, Susanoo is the Japanese god of thunder and storms, and is known most widely within Shinto lore for killing the great white snake Orochi with the sword of Totsuka, which is why you're now understanding where Kishimoto might have got the idea of Itachi using his Totsuka blade to stab the white snake version of Orochimaru in the face. Scenes between Itachi and Amaterasu don't end here. These are 3 treasures that are passed down from emperor to emperor, and are specifically kept out of the eye of the public to symbolize the authority that the emperor has over Japan. Now, each of these 3 treasures is meant to represent the 3 core values of the emperor and Japan: valor, wisdom, and benevolence. Now, the history of these 3 imperial regalia is kind of cool, as the 3 treasures were actually brought down to the earth by Migi no Mikoto, who is the first ancestor of the Japanese imperial line, and who was sent down to earth by his grandfather, Amaterasu, to pacify Japan. And thus these treasure regalia are passed from emperor to emperor to symbolize their descendancy from Amaterasu. And you'll find the names of these 3 imperial regalia rather interesting, as they are the Kusanagi no Tsurugi, also known as Kusanagi Blade, Yatsu no Kagami, also known as the Yada Mirror, and the Yasakani no Magatama, also known as the Magatama Bead. Now, while the sword of Kusanagi isn't tied to a Susanoo, and is just wielded by Orochimaru, who is said to be able to cut through anything, the Yada Mirror is absolutely wielded on a Susanoo, specifically by Itachi, who ties a large amount of his inspiration to Amaterasu. And the Yasakani no Magatama is also wielded by Itachi and Madara. And this is an attack when an incomplete Susanoo creates beads of chakra that it throws at an enemy. And all of these beads are in the shape of the actual Imperial Regalia jewel. But why only connect Itachi to Amaterasu? Why not connect Itachi to other incredibly powerful gods? Because Itachi's other MS ability is Tsukiyomi, which is just the name of the Japanese god of the moon. And as an MS wielder, Itachi also has access to things like Izanami and Izanagi, who are kind of the progenitor gods of Shinto ideology, who created all of the other primary gods and Japan. As one day when Izanagi was washing his face in a river, he created 3 new gods. Amaterasu was born from his left eye, Tsukiyomi was born from his right eye, and Susanoo was born from his nose. But enough about Itachi, what about his brother? Obviously, Sasuke wields Amaterasu, and we've already covered that. But Sasuke's other ability, Kagutsuchi, is just named after the Japanese god of fire, while things like Koto Matsukame refer to the era in which all Japanese deity lived together. However, there is one outlier amongst the MS abilities, and that would be Kamui. See, Kamui is not based off of Shinto lore, it's actually based off of Ainu lore. See, here's the thing. Way back in the day, in Japan's history, the southern island in the the Northern Island didn't really talk all that much, mostly because traveling was hard. Plus, the ancestral people of Hokkaido didn't pray to Shinto ideology. They prayed to Ainu ideology. And Kamui is a divine figure in Ainu ideology. But the influence of naming things based off gods doesn't end there, as Raijin, and more specifically things like flying Raijin, are obviously inspired by the Japanese god of lightning, Raijin. However, this isn't the only thing in Naruto that's influenced by Raijin. In actuality, the two stupid brothers who may not remember are two criminals who were thrown into prison for killing their comrades, but then breaking out of said prison. Now, both of these brothers are incredibly stupid, but they're also incredibly strong, and their primary motivation for doing anything is food. Now, these two legendary stupid brothers' names are Raijin and Fujin, who are the Japanese gods of lightning and wind. And within Shinto lore, Raijin and Fujin were notorious troublemakers who would kind of just destroy large parts of humanity, mostly because humanity couldn't do anything to stop them.
This a one and done type of thing.
I didn't talk about this when I was talking about the tailed beasts. Kurama is obviously based off of the Kyubi. I mean, I guess I said that, but I didn't get into what a Kyubi is. Foxes in Japanese mythology were sometimes
Miami.
Some foxes were kitsune, and kitsune had the ability to transform. That is, that they could shapeshift, and usually they would shapeshift into the form of a woman. Now, this is why when Naruto sees Kushina for the first time as he's rampaging in his battle against Nagito, that he believes that Kushina is actually just Kurama taking a different shape. This is a reference to the fact that Kurama, as a nine-tailed fox, would be a shapeshifter and would shapeshift into that of a woman. Now, any fox technically has the ability to become a Kyubi, because when a fox hits 100 years old, they gain another tail. So when a fox becomes 1,000 years old, they become a Kyubi. That is to say, a nine-tailed fox. And once these foxes became Kyubi, they gained a massive amount of power, becoming yokai. And these nine-tailed foxes were feared and revered, as foxes in Japan are actually symbols of good harvest, as Inari, the Shinto god of rice, is actually a fox. This is why one of the most famous shrines in all of Japan, the Fushimi Inari Shrine, you know, the one with the thousands of orange gates, has a ton of foxes all around it because it is a shrine built to Inari, the god of rice. But while we're talking about important animals in Naruto, we might as well talk about Garuda. Garuda, for those of you who don't know, is Sasuke's hawk summoning. And Garuda technically hails from Hindu mythology. Now, Garuda is referred to as the king of all birds, who is also known as the devourer and the enemy of all snakes, which is supposed to be symbolic because after Manda's death in the battle against Deidara, Sasuke uses his hawk summoning much more often than his snake summonings. While at the same time, him beginning to summon Garuda happens after he becomes an enemy of Orochimaru, the great white snake. Enough about hawks, let's talk about gods, but no longer Shinto gods. Because Shinto gods aren't the only place that Masashi Kishimoto got inspiration. He also takes a ton of content from Hinduism. And in no spot is that more evident than Indra and Ashura. In Hindu mythology, Indra is a Hindu god who wields thunderbolts, which is why Sasuke Susanoo uses lightning and has the ability Indra's arrow. Now, Indra in Hindu mythology also has a bow. However, his bow is a rainbow. Now, interestingly enough, in Hindu mythology, Indra is the good guy, and Asura is the bad guy, as Asura is a power-hungry entity bent on destroying the world and the heavens above. And Indra has to defeat this entity through the power of his bow. But obviously, the roles were reversed here because Sasuke wields lightning abilities. So his connection to Indra made way more sense than having Naruto have a connection to Indra. However, Asura is a six-armed, three-faced god, which is why Asura's chakra mode that he uses against Indra Susanoo has three faces and six arms, and why Naruto's Asura Kurama cloak has three faces and six arms. But this isn't the only time that Indra and Asura's reincarnations have been symbolically tied to Hinduism, as almost all of the Rinnegan's paths tie their origin back to Hindu mythology. The Asura path is obviously tied back to Asura, to mechanically alter your body and gain new limbs or new faces. Deva, which is the Hindu word for God, gave you the ability to control attractive and repulsive forces, giving you godlike power. The Prana path, which allows you to absorb all of ninjutsu, is based off of ghostly supernatural beings that live in torment for eternity as they try to satiate their insatiable hunger and thirst, which is obviously symbolic of the fact that the Prana path can absorb all ninjutsu, quenching an insatiable thirst for chakra. And the Naraka path, which gives you the ability to summon the king of hell, is based off the Hindu idea of hell. And Naraka, and this is kind of a bad explanation, but a short one, is Hinduism's version of hell, where souls go to be cleansed for their sins. Now, ironically, Naraka is where Yama, which is what Monkey King Enma, resides. So in actuality, the king of hell is Enma. And on the other side of the coin, that is to say Hashirama, his 1,000 beyond variable. Kanon, you know, the Uber makes a giant Hindu god with 1,000 wooden arms that was able to slap Susano off Brahma, is based off the Hindu Buddhist creation of Avalokitesvara, a 1,000-armed, 12-faced god. But Avalokitesvara in Japanese is referred to as Senju Kanon, as Senju is 1,000. And there is so much more. So many minor details, so many minor characters.
Take a look around.
Just ripped from Japanese mythology and thrown into the Naruto universe. Here, we'll go speed round. The 7 Swordsmen of the Mist are based off the Shichini Misaki, who were a group of 7 yokai. Now, these 7 yokai were ghost samurai who all died in a boat crash out on the ocean, which is why the Shichini Misaki only appeared near bodies of water. Just like the 7 Swordsmen of the Mist. And these 7 ghost yokai would show up and try to either possess a host or kill them. And therefore anybody who lived near the water was very afraid of them. The Sound Village 4 is based off a story from 1254, also known as Kokoncho Monju, which tells the story of a boy named Kidomaru, the Oni boy. Now Kidomaru spends his entire life trying to get revenge for being thrown out of a temple. However, Kidomaru, blinded by his own rage and lust for revenge, is eventually killed by an enemy's very accurately placed arrow, which is obviously symbolic of how Nechi kills him by sending up his gentle fist through his spider string connected to his arrow. Tatsu is based off of Kuchisaki Onna, which, if you're watching JJK, Kuchisaki Onna is actually the cursed spirit that Geto summoned in the battle against Koji, along with a scissors to ask Koji if she was pretty, as Kuchisaki Onna was a yokai for Japanese mythology who was armed with a sharp pair of scissors. Now, Kuchisaki Onna had strength in her hair, connected bodies, and she asked people if they believed that she was pretty. It's a bit different from being a homeowner in Los Angeles. So to me, if I were to rank flexes in a fictional universe, I would take into account what they're flexing and maybe more importantly, how that paid off for them. Because here's the thing, if I am in a fist fight with you and I put my hands down on my side and stick out my chin and you knock me out, not really a flex. Understand the rules now? Cool. Let's get into it. Because coming up at number 10, we have one of the most immediate examples of listen to the rules, and this placement will make sense. Because coming up at number 10, we have White Mask Obito saying the incredibly iconic line, "Huh? Am I sweating? No. It's just rain. These fools could never make me sweat." Now listen, I'm not going to sit here and say that that is anything but one of the coldest lines ever muttered in a fictional universe ever. Obito, while sitting on top of the Genamazu, while pulling out his Uchiha Gunbai, a legendary Uchiha weapon that can reflect all ninjutsu, looks at his arm and sees perspiration. But is it perspiration? The sweat on Obito's arm couldn't possibly be sweat because the people he's battling against couldn't even begin to make him break one. And his acknowledgement of that fact is wildly disrespectful. Obito is looking out upon the entirety of the Shinobi Alliance as they scramble to try to save their tailed beasts. But now through the power of his newly found Rinnegan, his Kamui, and his 6 paths of pain, Obito believes he's above the strength of even the entirety of the Shinobi Alliance. He doesn't just believe that he can beat them, he believes he can beat them without breaking a sweat. To look out on the collective forces of the entirety of the Shinobi world and assume that not only you could defeat them, but defeat them with a low amount of effort and kind of prove that to be true is a wild flex.
But Nick, if it's one of the coldest lines ever uttered in fiction and it's kind of true, why is it so low on this list?
Well, mostly because it's like only kind of true. See, White Mask Obito is absolutely a menace to society. Between his new Rinnegan abilities, the Kamui, and his 6 paths of pain, Obito in his White Mask form is substantially stronger than we even saw him be. As I believe White Mask Obito is probably Obito's strongest form. Yes, stronger than Jubito, at least based on everything that we saw. And while White Mask Obito does go toe-to-toe with the likes of Might Guy, Kakashi, and KCM1 Naruto simultaneously, and that's very impressive, the real reason that these three weren't able to get the better of Obito is because by and large, they were also focusing about half of their attention on the Ten Tails, which was just recently created by Obito, giving the Geto statue Kinkaku and Ginkaku, and one of Gyuki's tails. Well, part of Gyuki's tails. And on top of that, Naruto enters his battle against White Mask Obito only using KCM1, but as soon as Naruto unlocks KCM2, he's pretty much enough to overwhelm Obito. And that was just Obito battling against 3 people, and Might Guy wasn't even using the gates. So while yeah, obviously him saying these idiots could never make me sweat is incredibly sick. This is a man who got cucked out of his own war by Madara, absorbed the Ten Tails, somehow got weaker, and then had the Ten Tails ripped out of it. And then the only reason he makes it to the end of the story is because multiple things clamor onto him to make sure he survives long enough to make it to the end of the story. So great line, bad payoff. That instance was a disrespectful flex. An idea popped into Obito's head that he was so much stronger than everybody in front of him that there was no way they could ever make him perspirate. That isn't the only way you can flex on those around you. Because coming in at number 9, we have another moment from the 4th Great Shinobi World War. However, this moment isn't done out of disrespect, but rather respect. Well, maybe not out of respect, but for the betterment of the people that this person was fighting. Because coming in at number 9, we have Gengetsu versus the 4th Division. Now this is a moment very similar to that of our number 10 spot, where somebody, Gengetsu in this circumstance, identifies that they are significantly stronger than the people that they are facing. However, instead of demeaning the people that he was battling against, Gengetsu actively tried to help them. And ironically, Gengetsu did a better job at defeating his opponents than Obito did. See, Gengetsu is the 2nd Mizukage of the Hidden Mist Village, and the oldest member of the Hozuki clan that we know of. And therefore, as a member of the Hozuki clan, he has the hydrification ability. That is to say that he can liquefy any part of his body should somebody be about to inflict bodily harm onto him. However, that's not necessarily his biggest concern, considering the fact that he is Edo Tensei back. Meaning that he can't be physically harmed to begin with. On top of that, Gengetsu, as a Mizukage, is an incredibly talented water release user. But what separates him from the rest of the Hozuki clan, at least the Hozuki clan members that we know, is that not only is he not a swordsman, but a large amount of his power is tied into his summon, which is a giant clam capable of dispensing steam that, when inhaled, induces Genjutsu. Now, Gengetsu and the majority of the other Edo Tensei ninjas who were brought back during the 4th Great Shinobi World War by Kabuto had his actions controlled, but not his mind. And therefore, Gengetsu, even though his body was forcing him to battle against the 4th Division, was telling the 4th Division on how to defeat him. And yet, even though Gengetsu was telling this entire division on how exactly to defeat him, They could not. In fact, Gengetsu wipes out the entirety of the division, and their lives are only saved because Gaara gets Naruto and Inoki to come battle against Gengetsu. And yet, even then, Gengetsu is able to destroy a Grand Sand Mausoleum, a Fuinjutsu so powerful that it was able to seal Urashiki for a couple of hours. It sealed Gengetsu for a total of 3 seconds. And that's because Gengetsu has an infinite explosion ability that allows him to make water and oil clones that explode, expand, and when they recondense, explode again. Now, eventually, Gaara does find a way to cool down the steam clone that Gengetsu uses for his infinite explosion technique. And since he's able to slow it down and seal it in gold, the technique is nullified, while sealing away Gengetsu's original body in another Grand Sand Mausoleum. However, all in all, it takes 3 Gokage in an entire division to seal away a man who is actively telling them how to seal him away. That, ladies and gentlemen, is what we call a respectful flex. Who knows how many people it would have taken to seal Gengetsu if, hypothetically, he wasn't giving away the tips to how his techniques work. This man was a menace. There's more to being a menace than telling people how to defeat you. You can simply just display the fact that you might be nigh undefeatable, which is what the person in our number 8 spot did, because coming in at number 8, we have Naruto slapping away 5-tailed beast bombs. See, because after the tailed beasts were placed under the control of Obito and Madara, they decided to turn their tailed beast bombs onto the Shinobi Alliance. And it's at this moment that we see Might Guy and Kakashi arguing about which of the 2 of them is going to be able to get rid of these 5 incredibly deadly attacks. Kakashi claims with the power of his Kamui, he'll be able to absorb all 5 of them, and Might Guy claims if he opens the 8th gate, he'll be able to deflect all 5 of them. However, Might Guy doesn't believe that Kakashi's Kamui will be strong enough to pull in all of the 5-tailed beast bombs, and Kakashi knows that if Might Guy uses the 8th gate, he'll lose his husband. However, fortunately for both of them, there was a third option, and that third option is Naruto. However, it's not like Naruto had to risk his life to deflect these 5-tailed beast bombs. In fact, Naruto doesn't even break a sweat. Naruto flies in like a flash of lightning in his KCM2 mode and smacks these 5-tailed beast bombs away. And in this moment, he displays so much power and so much poise, Kakashi thinks he's looking at Minato, not Naruto. But Naruto goes one step further than simply deflecting an ability that Might Guy would have had to kill himself to deflect, as Naruto then takes on his completed Kurama Chakra mode and defeats the 5-tailed beast with the assault on Might Guy and Kakashi in the first place, which is the epitome of backing up your business. See, not only did Naruto show to these 5-tailed beasts that without the usage of his Kurama mode, he would be able to easily deflect their strongest offensive ability, but he then backed it up by putting all 5 of these tailed beasts simultaneously on their backs. All the while, Naruto was using his first ever tailed beast transformation. Simply by using an ability that he was new to, he was stronger than the 5-tailed beast who was standing across from him. And that made him substantially stronger than his teacher and his husband who was standing behind him. But Naruto hasn't always been on the giving end of flexes in Naruto, as more often than not, he's actually been on the receiving end. And one of the first flexes that Naruto was ever on the receiving end of was when Itachi came to say hello. See, because coming in at number 7 of top 10 flexes in all of Naruto, we had Itachi knocking. What do I mean by that? What incredibly specific moment could I be referring to? Well, I am, of course, referring to the moment when Itachi decided to kidnap Naruto. But instead of kicking down the door of Naruto's apartment and stanging Naruto before he could react, Itachi and Kisame simply walked into Konoha, found Naruto's apartment, and knocked. See, because Itachi understood that regardless of how prepared Naruto, or really anybody in the village was, he could get Naruto like that. And thus Itachi, being stronger than everybody else in the village, and definitely stronger than Naruto, decided to not abandon decorum, and therefore, before stealing Konoha's strongest asset, he decided to let him get up and answer the door. The level of confidence required to not only walk into a village that you are a rogue ninja of, but also walk up to that village's greatest asset and warn that greatest asset that, hey, I'm here, and you're coming with me now. It's a level of flex only mired by the sheer fact that Itachi didn't actually end up stealing Naruto in the first place, because Jiraiya happened to also be in town, and Jiraiya was enough to scare Itachi and Kisame away. Now, Say what you will, Itachi wasn't actually trying to kidnap Naruto. He was actually trying to warn Naruto that the Akatsuki were after him. And it's fine if you subscribe to that theory. It's also fine if you subscribe to the theory that Itachi wasn't actually a good guy until Shippuden, and that him being a bad guy was retconned by Kishimoto during the time skip because everybody loved Itachi. But either way, we don't actually know what Itachi's true motivations in that moment were. Though within the confines of what is now considered canon, it's best to believe that he wasn't actually trying to kidnap Naruto. But considering the fact that Itachi was incredibly involved in the snapping of Yagura, who had so many three tails, and he never really seemed to hesitate to fulfill the Akatsuki's orders, assuming that much based off canonicity is kind of hard to do. But at the end of the day, Itachi knows. But at the further end of the 10, he didn't end up with the boy that he was trying to kidnap, which is why he's kind of low on this list. Fortunately, a display of power followed up by nothing at all is kind of a commonality on this list. Because coming up at number 6, we have a very similar instance to Itachi Nagi, and that is Tobirama letting a finger. See, when it comes to shows of pure might, this is one of the greatest depictions of what power truly looks like in Naruto. See, during the Fourth Great Shinobi World War, when Sasuke, Heavy, and Orochimaru decide that they're going to bring back the 4 dead Hokage in order to help the Shinobi Alliance in their battle against Madara, Sasuke begins to tell Hokage all about his plans for the future of Konoha, and most specifically about how he's going to take vengeance against Konoha. However, considering these are the 4 dead Hokage he's talking to, all of them have a fair amount of allegiance to Konoha. Maybe none more, though, however, than Tobirama. And thus, when Sasuke tells Tobirama all about how he's going to destroy Konoha, Tobirama gets a little upset. And it's in this moment that Tobirama begins to release his chakra aura. That is to say that he shows the entirety of the room just how powerful he is, all by simply lifting his index finger. However, surely through the act of lifting his index finger, everybody in the room who's not on Tobirama's side begins to get real nervous. Togetsu begins to melt. Jugo takes a nervous defensive stance. Sasuke begins to grimace and sweat himself. And even Orochimaru, one of the strongest people in the universe at this current time, as he just gotten his arms back, takes a nervous defensive stance for the upcoming battle against Tobirama. It's not until Hashirama himself releases his chakra aura and places a hand on his brother's shoulder and tells him to put his finger down that Tobirama backs off. And therefore, while the lifting of this finger never really amounts to anything, the fact that Tobirama, simply by showing off his chakra aura, was able to make Sasuke, Jugo, Suegetsu, Orochimaru, and even Hiruzen nervous is saying something. Not to mention that the combined force of both Tobirama and Hashirama's auras being released simultaneously almost destroyed the building that they were all standing in. To quote the job of Naruto, now that's presence. Now, unfortunately for the entirety of the Fourth Great Shinobi World War, Tobirama gets some kind of dogged on. Like, he's got a couple of pretty good moments in battle against Obito, but Madara straight up off-screens him. And somewhat surprisingly, I think almost every single flex except for Naruto slaps the 5-tailed beast on this list ends up with the person flexing moves. And number 5 on this list is absolutely not breaking that trend. Because coming up at number 5, we have Rock Lee drops the weights. Now, this is not only one of the top 10 flexes in anime history, but also one of the top 10 moments in anime history. Rock Lee, a relative unknown in Naruto up until this point, whose only redeeming quality was the fact that he somehow managed to speedblood Sasuke and that he only uses taijutsu, draws the incredible misfortune of coming up against the strongest genin in the entirety of the Chunin exams, Gaara. And it's at this point that Rock Lee very quickly finds out that Gaara has an absolute defense, his mother's soul living in a court of sand that he keeps on him at all times. And his absolute defense blocks any incoming attacks, projectiles, anything. And thus Rock Lee is struggling to get beyond this absolute defense and therefore struggling to hit Gaara at all.
We got him, boys. We got him. Are you okay? Hasta luego. I know you see that. Yeah.
Jumping in at the edge there. That's something that people forget about. Like, sure, obviously Kakia was the first would kill Madara, but Naruto and Sasuke were running it up on him towards the end there. But Madara's flexes don't end there, because coming up at number 2, we got another great moment from another great man. That is Madara asking the fire current Hokage if they want his clones
Is Susanoo or not?
a whole lot more than just fodder in the Fourth Great Shinobi World War. As Madara, during one point in the Fourth Great Shinobi World War, finds himself across from the 5 Kage. Well, sure, you can make the argument that these 5 Kage aren't the strongest iteration of the 5 Kage of all time. They're still the 5 Kage, which include A, the Fourth Right Kage, one of the strongest Kages in history, Tsunade, the greatest healer in Naruto's history outside of maybe Sakura, Inoki, who Madara identified as the only threat to him in the Shinobi Alliance, Mei, a dual Keke Genkai wielder, and Gaara, probably the strongest magnet release user ever, except for now maybe his son. Any way you look at it, most people would struggle against these 5 simultaneously. And yet, you want to know what Madara did? Madara made 25 wood clones. And while it's not entirely clear whether or not wood clones subscribe to the same level of chakra split as a shadow clone, as wood clones have been claimed to be the strongest of all clones, but if hypothetically wood clones do have the same set of rules as shadow clones, this would mean that each and every single one of these individual clones had 1/25th of Madara's chakra. And Madara identified that each and every single one of these individual wood clones was as strong as one of the Gokage. And thus Madara was telling the Gokage that his clones, with a 25th of his power, are as strong as them. And after telling the Gokage that, he also asked them the incredibly cool question, do you want them to use Susanoo or not? Implying that Madara can now not only make 25 clones, but with 1/25th of his chakra, generate a Susanoo. As a clone,
Come on, man, you see it. You spent a lot of time thinking about this, didn't you?
Yeah, only my entire life. Now, did you want something, or were you just coming in here to try to interrupt my meditation, man?
Nah, man, I'm here on official business, all right? I know we boys and all, but I am your manager, okay?
Still can't believe I let you talk me into this one, man.
Hey, that's the power of persuasion.
Don't want to leave Coach waiting.
He must love you.
That's not the impression I get.
Look, you'll be fine, all right? If he gives you any problems, you let me know, all right? I'll take care of him.
All right, man. Sounds good.
That fight could have possibly been easier for him. However, even that flex pales in comparison to the #1 flex in all of Naruto, and you're not gonna believe who pulled it off. That would be none other than Madara. And to be a bit more specific, it would be the Madara grabbed his second meteor. See, Madara freshly awakened through Edo Tensei after cutting his way through the 4th division with Taijutsu and massive fireball jutsu that required an entire division of water users to nullify. Decided, let's stop messing about, and decided to use his rated-on abilities to pull a meteor out of the stratosphere. And as that meteor was hurtling its way towards the Shinobi Alliance,
I'm gonna just be up. Tell my mom to get to the doctor chat.
However, fortunately for the Shinobi Alliance,
I'll holler at y'all tomorrow.